On Monday, I'm going to be in a full suit, so I'm going to have to beat your picture with the suit.
Oh, it's okay. They're sending me another suit.
Okay, so this all counts. This all counted as like pre-show stuff, right?
Yeah, this is the pre-show. Hey,
Okay.
welcome to the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to Weekly Pull. I'm Ben, the comic story, and I think I'm dying. And that is Rob from the Comics Explained. And that is Faust from the super effectively not so sick guy. And that is Sal who pops the comics. And
Yep,
then there's
and
Joel
the show
from the,
occasionally.
and then and pops the show. And that is Joel from the Cape Joel. He's a Cape guy.
You know, Benny, if you can't handle the alcohol, you shouldn't overindulge.
He's like, I'm sick.
Tell them to stop putting alcohol on my day quilt.
Don't mix those things. You'll die.
You'll die.
Okay.
Isn't that what the rappers do? Isn't that called like sherm or something when you mix booze
Did you
with your
even say a
cough syrup?
word there? Or
Damn it.
did you just make a noise?
Sherm.
Sherm?
Sherm.
Sherm. I'm pretty sure it's called sherm.
I have no idea.
Are you Sherman?
Let's ask our rapper fan base. Hey, rapper fan base, is that what it's called?
Those of you who listen to Drake, can you tell
Ready?
us?
Let's compete, Faust.
Oh, my hair won't move.
Oh no, there's a little too much.
Well, I have a Pikachu hat, so my beanie ultimately wins out.
All right, so let's talk about topics that I give a fuck about before we leave.
All right, let's do it.
So let's start off with the Justice League poster. How about that?
See, I was looking at that poster.
Where's Green
And-
Lantern? That's my big question. Where's Green Lantern?
Well, green, you know what?
2020, that's where he is.
Green Lantern is not being cared about by anybody, so that's why he's not there. So
Yeah.
okay, he's being
Green
cared about by
Lantern
one
did
person.
a bad thing, and now he has to stay in the doghouse until we say he can
No,
come out
what's
again.
going on right now is Green Lantern is literally at Oa killing the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians of the Universe because it's Emerald Twilight. So, like that's that's basically what's going on.
I would take that.
No, see, I was looking at that and I was sitting there thinking I was like, you know, for people who aren't who just like can't, you know, like reconcile the differences between the show and the movies, like how are they going to reconcile like Barry Allen in the TV show with this
Oh, they're
Flash?
just
Because
gonna ignore it. They're just gonna pretend like
I'll
it
bet
exists.
good money that this Flash we're going to see is going to be Wally West.
It's
Like,
going to be their hardest
It'd
uphill
be
battle.
really smart.
No,
would-
they've literally come out and said this
It is
will be
Barry.
Barry Allen.
It's
Oh,
there.
okay,
We're gonna-
okay.
We're gonna have two Barrys. I've said before it's gonna be a super uphill battle because I think they underestimated how much people ended up liking Grant Gustin on TV.
He's a great Barry Allen. He's a great Flash.
And they've already,
See, I-
they've already kind of hinted that if this doesn't go well, having multiple universes, they are just going to do a crisis and like
Bring 'em all
Good
together.
idea. They
Yeah.
already have the writing on the wall. Like they could totally just crisis it
Well,
out.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, the Grant Gustin, I think, is the big linchpin in this whole thing because Arrow is never going to be in a movie,
No.
and he could have very easily been in the same universe. But by making the Flash and then doing two Barry Allens, they write their state this is not the same universe, and I don't understand why it can't be. Never mind the fact Grant Gustin is not doing a bad job of acting.
No,
Well, because in truth, they can just treat it as like just one giant like litmus test.
I think
They can
we-
say, well, we've
I-
got like the TV shows, we've got the movies, like the Batman Superman movies are always going to do well. Like here's a Justice League movie. Let's see how that does. And if it all does well, like I agree with Sal and I agree with Benny that like they'll just come back because they live that groundwork in the Flash. They can say, well, remember like when it said that Barry Allen disappeared in a crisis? Well, that wasn't what happened at the end of season one. Like this is the crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
And bring
But
them
they
all
could-
together.
I mean, like the fact is, I think that they would have done it if DC had a solid, proven track record. But because DC's, I think DC's had their hand over the reset button since Man of Steel launched, and I think they've
Yeah.
just been like, if they don't watch this movie, if they don't like it, if this Superman Returns, we're just gonna reboot it again, and we can't put all our eggs in one basket if people aren't gonna watch it.
Because
And
we
so-
put all our eggs in one basket before with Green Lantern when that was going to start a brand new universe. And
Yeah, they
that
made the
didn't
mistake.
take.
They did the PS, they did the Nick Fury thing where Amanda Waller shows up and they're like, see what we're doing? And then nobody liked it. And they're like, yeah, okay, reboot it then, whatever. If they started saying, like, no, the Barry Allen in the show is going to show up in the movies, and people are like, you mean the movies nobody likes? Then I think they would be like, oh crap, we have to reboot everything now. Like, they're too willing to cancel everything, so they weren't willing to, like, take a chance on the show and the movie.
Well,
It's a
here's
very all or
really,
nothing approach.
really, if you think about it, DC are like with their movies how Marvel are in comics with their events, just very willing to say, "Oh no, oh we did that. No, we didn't mean that. No,
Yes.
no, let's go back."
Oh yeah, they're always like, I'm telling you, like that reset button has no glass over it. They're just like, oh, whoops, I bumped into the reboot. Well, whatever, reboot it.
Well, that's the problem is I think that DC's too willing, like it's spending too much time looking at like the Marvel Cinematic Universe in terms of like how it started and saying like, you know, is there a way to, and you can't, because it was lightning in a bottle. Like you had Robert Downey Jr. who was trying to rebuild his career. You had what's his
John
name?
Favreau, who's
Yeah,
like
John
a
Favreau.
independent director, like
Exactly, who was desperate to be like, I can make a good movie, and like all those different things like came
he makes good
together.
movies.
He does make good movies, but like they all came together to create a movie, you know, for the Marvel, and it was what people wanted to see at the time, and it just got that much traction that it took off. So
And
The funny thing is,
I especially feel like for DC, because they've got Batman and Superman, who are the two most recognizable comic book characters worldwide,
Easily.
that they should have just gone with no-name actors, people
Yeah.
that you've never heard of before, so those actors literally do become those characters.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
That's kind of what
Everyone
Marvel
knows who
did by
Ben
picking
Affleck
lesser
is.
known guys.
but I think I think that DC was not willing to do that because they don't. I honestly think maybe they don't feel this way anymore, but at least 5-10 years ago, I think that DC Warner Brothers, like movie DC, doesn't have enough faith in their own characters. I
Oh,
think they
for
were
sure.
like,
No.
it can't just be that people want to see a Batman movie. You got to make the Batman guy be important and big and special. That's why like the supervillains in the Batman movies since '89 have been big, huge, amazing, like, you know, popcorn movie actors, because it's not that the actor does an amazing job. Although with Chris Nolan's Joker, you could argue like that's like the one time. But like, I don't think that DC movies gives a crap about their characters in a way where they're like, no, Batman is the reason they're going to see this movie. So whoever plays him, it doesn't matter. They're like, no, it's got to be Ben Affleck, because not only is he celebrated and huge, but he's also a good director, so we can use him to make good movies for us. Like, it was a whole
And
nefarious scheme.
the whole Batfleck
Well, yeah, I mean,
thing
he's
just makes
making
me
the
feel so uncomfortable, because the guy that's directing the movie isn't as good as a director as Ben Affleck,
No, he's
And-
not.
and
Ain't that weird?
and that just is never good. That's never a good situation. It always causes friction between the actor and the director, and it just results in a bad movie, or at least a bad
maybe he'll
performance
get to
from the
direct a
character.
solo Batman one. We
Yeah.
can hope.
Well, because I was
Oh.
gonna say with in that case, I feel like, crap, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
It
no,
happens.
I do agree with that idea that it's trying to do like too much, too soon. Like if we're gonna make a Batman movie, like it needs to be everything.
Yeah.
In this movie, like a huge blockbuster actor and like a really good director and like an incredible script and all that kind of stuff. Like the great thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies is it was literally like they felt like indie films to a degree. They felt
Yeah.
like high budget indie
yeah.
films,
Oh, yeah.
and you know it felt like sitting down and watching Iron Man. You could watch that by itself and never watch any of the other movies.
Yeah.
And you could be fine. You know, same thing with all the other ones, because it was so much going on into character building. And I think that the problem that DC has, I'll go with Sal on this. I think the problem DC has is they view their characters as larger than life. I mean, Batman and Superman are, sure, but
They're
if you're
pop
going,
icons.
yeah, but if you're going to make a movie, you know, based on comic book characters, you have to make them for what they are, which are comic book characters.
Yeah.
Not, you know, these great big huge larger than life pillars of, you know, society. Yeah, they set a lot of stage, you know, but at the end of the day, they could cancel Superman and Batman stories and the world will continue going and comic books will continue to be released.
Well, and
like
Batman, Superman stories will still be told.
and they'll
by
still, yeah,
movies.
exactly.
So,
Like old comics will get turned into movies. So
Yep. I mean, for me, the point I was going to make earlier was simply when it comes to getting Zack Snyder to make the Batman Superman movie and getting Zack Snyder to do the Superman movie, you can't have, and this is not like, you can't have the guy who did Watchmen make Superman. Because
why not?
because it's a deconstruction of Superman. Like, if you make a movie that is literally a condemnation / dissection of superheroes, and then in the same breath make a pure superhero movie,
It is an odd feeling.
that's
Oh,
freaking
works.
weird. Like, it's also a conflict.
And making a dark Superman movie, in my honest opinion, is the same as making a dark Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't work,
It
and
simply
no one
doesn't
likes
work.
it.
Like, people might want to see it, but it just doesn't work on a conceivable level.
No, I think it works as long as the story is written in a way that works. The problem with the Man of
Like,
Steel was that there was no the movie didn't have any real purpose. It was
No.
literally just a story. It was like the best. I'll say the best part of that movie was Russell Crowe. Like the first half of the movie when they were dealing with Krypton was the best part of the movie because there was so much development there. After that, it evolved into your archetypical Superman fighting a bad guy. Superman wins, movie ends, and that was it. And that's all there was to it. It was cool seeing fight scenes, but it was like that Rob Explains video that I did on Michael Bay. People hate Michael Bay because he uses action scenes to cover up problems with the script and the story. And that's kind of what Man of Steel felt like to a degree. Like they were using action scenes to cover up problems. You know, it's all the classical like movie tropes. You know, so
I feel like the thing is, okay, so I'm going to use an internet example for this. Back in the mid 2000s, when YouTube was still a baby, there was a TV show called Yu-Gi-Oh that a lot of people may have heard of, and a guy had an idea to do Yu-Gi-Oh but get rid of all the card games in it and call it Yu-Gi-Oh Abridged.
I love that guy, Little Karibo. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. And it was hilarious. If you got rid of all the fight scenes out of Man of Steel and just turned it into story, it would be about 10 minutes long.
yeah.
And that is
true.
not a good thing. That, like, a movie needs to be, even an action movie needs to be more story than action.
Agreed.
I agree. That's because that's the problem. That's the inherent issue with Superman. Like a classic example or a really good example is when I was going through and doing the Death of Superman video. The comic where Superman dies is 27 pages long. 22 of those pages are him and Doomsday beating each other up.
Right.
And
Which,
that's it.
For me,
Like-
that works though because it's a giant monster from space that's literally created to kill Superman. And if you're going to kill Superman, like, and it's going to be in a fight, that fight it better be a big fight.
Oh,
An
like,
alien
I
soccer
agree.
ball, yeah.
I'm not saying that's not the case. What I'm saying is when they wrote that story, they stuck with the same old formula of Superman comics. Give me a Superman story besides Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman that's character driven. That's literally like the okay, birth. This is origin story. This you know,
Yes.
but it's a
All right,
good
well,
origin
then,
story. I don't
Last
take
Son
it.
of Krypton. Last Son of Krypton by Jeff Johns, which is
Okay.
where Chris Kent is like the Zod's kid. shows
Okay,
up.
I'll give you, and I'll even give you Birthright. All right, 3 stories in the
American
history
Alien,
of,
I
of
guess.
American
Yeah.
Alien.
American
Yeah.
Alien as it's shaping
yeah.
up. So okay, aside from Superman origin stories, and with the exception of
And,
All Star,
Superman Earth 1. No,
Oh,
just-
and
Oh yeah,
Lois
Superman
and
Earth
Clark.
One.
yeah.
And Lois and Clark that's going on right now.
yeah,
It's
Lois and
another-
Clark going on.
Oh yeah, that is going on right now. But those are character driven. Those are character driven stories. Okay, so what? 6 or
We
7.
literally have a handful. We literally
Yeah,
have
like
We
like
can keep
6
going
or
if you
7
want, Rob.
stories. No,
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 stories in the history of Superman's continuity are more about developing his character, and they're good stories. They're more about developing his character. I love Lois and Clark because it's like Superman's like I could have stopped Doomsday, but I just didn't. Because I wanted to see if this Superman could handle it. It was cool seeing those dichotomies, but the dichotomy between that Superman and the new Superman, New 52 Superman, is what made the first part of that story cool. The other part is how do Lois and Superman cope in this new reality, having to stay underground, and Superman being an underground hero and so on. That's what made it cool. It was the development of his character. It wasn't the fighting scenes that made Superman interesting. The fighting scenes are kind of cool, but Superman's entire history is mired with nothing but a series of stories where they're either goofy, where he's replaced with a robot, like in the 1950s, or is a series of stories where he's just fighting some super powerful foe, and very little emphasis is ever given on the development of his character.
What,
And
Like,
that's-
it's-
you could look
and
at John Byrne's run on Man of Steel is very character driven. It's a few years. It's set like it's very similar to New 52 in it that it's like a few years after his origin,
Yeah.
where like he and Batman team up to fight Magpie and like, but it's not really about Magpie. It's about like Batman and Superman meeting for the first time, and then you got like the development of Lex Luthor as a character. It's Superman isn't just like people assume like Superman. What do we do about Superman? Like how do we fix that one guy? And it's like he's surrounded by iconic supporting characters that all make up one cast that is one big story. Like who cares about Superman when you have well, not who cares about Superman, but more like Superman is a package deal. When you get Superman, you get Lois Lane, you get Jimmy Olsen, you get Perry White, you get Lex Luthor, you got all these different Jonathan Martha Kent. You have so much about Superman, and he's so dense. There's every frame has so much going on.
Well,
And the
that's
thing
but
the
is-
that's
red letter or
that's-
Sal.
And it's such a strange situation because both Supergirl and Superboy are very character-driven characters.
Oh, yeah.
And they have the same powers as Superman,
Right.
depending on which year you're looking at. And so it doesn't make sense that they can't do the same with Superman. And I don't know if it's just people get Superman and it's like they're given the keys to DC's best sports car, and they suddenly feel like they have to floor it, and then they usually
Yes.
just floor it straight into the wall.
But
Nobody
no,
just
here's-
takes a Superman character and goes like, I'm going to tell a cool story that isn't changing the damn thing or like, subverting the genre. Like, I get you want to like make your mark and live forever, but like just tell a damn good story. And that's it.
Well, that's always been my argument with Superman, and I'll take your points. I'll say, okay, yes, Superman is surrounded by a dense cast, but it's by virtue of those people that Superman's interesting.
Well, just like any of us.
Well, yeah, that's true, but a character like Superman in and of himself is not interesting. He's literally a guy that can do anything.
I
Right.
mean, but
What's
then if you-
interesting about that?
I see what you mean.
But then if you look at other versions of Superman, that let's take Shazam for example.
Yeah. Superman rip
like-
exactly.
He
If you look
literally
at the
was.
Superman rip-offs, they're interesting. But is it because they've been
Hyperion, there's another one.
yeah?
Hyperion,
And is
yeah.
it because have they been made interesting over the years? And if so, why were they able?
No,
like, why
to
were
me
the
they-
rip-offs made interesting, but the original wasn't? Like
No,
I
to
think-
me they're not interesting. Hyperion's not interesting at all.
No, he's
Hyperion is a character that people find intriguing, but he's there's no substance to his character.
Yeah, I don't
Like
give a
when
crap.
he shows up, like the Hyperion from Time Runs Out is literally a dude who's like, I'm here because my reality got destroyed, and he's just kind of wafting in the wind until
Now,
him
that
and Thor
said,
go fight Beyonders, and that's
you
it.
could do something really cool with a character like that because Hyperion is literally what if Superman failed and then had to go get readopted by another reality?
That's
a
basically what.
cool- That's a cool pitch. Like that's a damn good pitch. That's a Superman pitch.
Yeah.
But Marvel's already got their pitch and they can do it all by themselves. Like they don't even need Superman for that. But unfortunately, no one is interested in investing time, money, artists, and writers in that story. Like
He
Hyperion
getting
is
a
a
solo,
damn good
though.
graphic novel.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I've lost my train of
Well,
thought.
that's like a
That's on
character like
another
Sentry. Sentry on another level. Like Sentry's run, I will always tell people that Sentry's original run from 2000 is one of my favorite
Right.
stories. Everything after that is boring.
Yeah.
So, I don't
mean,
like it.
I guess going back to our main topic of the Justice League poster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which
That's
is
how this
how
whole thing started, by the way.
yeah, we haven't even talked about the two new guys who we're seeing for the first time.
I like how I'm like, hey, I'm sick and I can't pull a full hour, so let's talk about topics I'm going to talk about real quick. And you guys are like, let's talk about all this other shit. What about Superman?
That's how it goes.
I mean, so looking at this poster, and I'm gonna ask this question that I feel like has been on everyone's minds since
Where's
the
Green
movies
Lantern?
were announced, and I feel like we do need to talk about it. Why Cyborg?
Right? Why Cyborg?
He
I've
was-
been asking that question since 2011 when they launched the new 52, and they're like, "Don't worry, guys, Cyborg's a leaguer now." And I'm like,
He
"Okay,
was-
first of all, who cares?"
Yeah, he was the least interesting member of the Teen Titans. They tried giving him his own series, it flopped.
Yep.
And then they moved him over to the Justice League, and he was the least interesting member of the Justice League. So much so that he faded into the background, helping Red Tornado.
Dude,
I mean,
okay, you want to know
he's
why?
Bumblebee. He's left
But
to
I
he's
have
got to
an
guard the
actual
base.
I know the exact reason why.
Why?
When you think of DC, what black superhero do you think about? And this
John,
is
like-
John Stewart,
Oh,
Green
John
Lantern.
John Stewart. Okay, that is why.
Bumblebee, so-
That is
Shock.
why. Because when they rebooted the New 52, I spoke with the guys who did the Green Lantern. At the time of the reboot of the New 52, the reason Green Lantern was not affected by the New 52 reboot, it's because DC had put a mandate that the Green Lantern series of books were allowed to exist in their own right, do their
because
own
they
thing.
always made money.
Right. All of supporting cast of Green Lantern outside of Hal Jordan was untouchable, and Jeff Johns loved Hal Jordan, so he pulled him over. Now you have a undiverse Justice League, so you need a black superhero, and the only other black superhero in the entire DC universe that anyone can ever think about off the top of their head,
Who's not
Cyborg,
Static Shock.
because of-
But why not
No,
Static
Static Shock would be a
because
solid
they
character.
did
because
stuff
he's
with
not as
Static.
recognizable from anybody who's watched the cartoons since 2005.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
because he
us.
started in another company.
Icon would have been a great choice. I mean,
Too. Oh,
there's,
would've
a,
loved
there's-
Icon.
there's a number of people that we know as DC fans, but when you're rebuilding your Justice League and you're trying to go with recognizable characters, you have two recognizable black superheroes that are recognizable to people who have in the last 10 years been watching DC related content.
That's
mean, why
that's
did-
exactly
why
it. Because
did- I
people
mean,
will
if you
sit down and watch it and say, "Oh, Cyborg!" Like I remember him from the cartoon show.
Yeah.
and
Then
that's
if you want to go from, oh, I remember them from the cartoon show, you also had the option of Bumblebee, and if the excuse is diversity, you had a female black superhero. So I feel like the excuse for diversity isn't really good enough when there are far more interesting black characters there.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh no,
it's
just
funny,
it doesn't.
too,
It doesn't matter that they're necessarily. It's that they're popular, like they're well known.
Well,
I'm
Bumblebee
reminded a
was
lot of,
popular. She was
I'm
really
a-
recognized, and she was in Young Justice as well.
So, yeah, but
Yeah.
Justice did
But-
not get anywhere near as a following as Teen Titans did. Hence why they
I'm-
rebooted Teen Titans to make it more
I'm-
kid friendly.
I'm reminded very much of what Dwayne McDuffie said, who was ironically the creator of Static Shock and one of the minds behind the Justice League cartoon we all love so much. His big pitch was, yeah, it should probably be Jon Stewart, and let's try and have a Hispanic, a hot girl. Because do you really want a show where the bunch of white people lording over humanity in their space satellite? And everyone's like, good point, Dwayne McDuffie, good point.
Have like a totally whitewashed
That's
cast.
why the whole thing. And on top of that, Jeff Johns likes to take superheroes and make them cool again because he managed to do it for Green Lantern. He managed to do it with the Flash. So now, as of the New 52, he was in a position where he was like, "I'm gonna take people and make them cool." So he started writing Aquaman, which it did work. Then he said, "I'm gonna go make Vibe," which didn't work. But as a part of all of this, he wanted to also make Cyborg up in another guy.
It's like,
And it
we
didn't
can't all
work.
bat 100. At
It
least
didn't work because I think even Jeff Johns got himself into a situation where he's like, okay, I have the Justice League and Cyborg. What the hell do I do with Cyborg?
You just put him on the
they
space
could've just-
station.
They could have
Because-
just made Jean black.
I mean, here's the thing. What are Cyborg's powers other than, I guess he can, like, use machines in his body?
tech
We-
support. That's his
He's
power.
a robot.
Yeah.
He's the
That's-
teleport. That's what.
He's the
That's
tech
all, every
support
time he's in a
guy.
comic, he's the guy that's like, "Come on, Cyborg, we need to get somewhere." Boom, tube.
He's
oh,
the
yeah,
he's the
boom,
guy that Justice League talks to when they call the 1-800 number on the Dell computers, and he's like, "Hi, my name is Cyborg. How can I help you?"
I mean,
At best, he's tech support. At worst, he's the chauffeur.
Aw,
like,
that's
in
Mm.
every...
He's
I mean,
driving Miss
every
Daisy.
teen-
Yeah, which is pretty damn offensive.
That is.
Like,
I mean,
as offensive as it is to have like a group of demigods like telling you who they're gonna save and why, it's worse to have the one black guy on the team be the guy who drives the company car for you. Like that's pretty.
Well, when you
Stop
say
and
it
think
that
about
way,
it,
it's
that's really
racist as shit. When you say it that way, Sal, it's probably one of the most racist things that I've ever heard about a character. Like,
Right? Like I'm just
like-
saying, objectively speaking, he's the boom tube guy.
And you
I
know,
mean,
it,
like,
it actually
even
gets
if you look at his Teen Titans days, when he wasn't the Boom Tube guy, he was,
was
always the first to fall in a fight. He
He
was
was always
like,
the first one to fall, but he was always the first one to start or to get in the fight. Like Cyborg
No,
was
no,
always
no.
the most. On
He
that
wasn't-
show, he was always willing to sacrifice himself. He was. If they
Okay.
did Teen Titan Cyborg in those comics, it'd be way cooler.
okay, I'm not really talking about like Teen Titan cartoon. I'm talking about like New Teen Titans. He never started a fight. He
Oh,
always
no.
got attacked.
Yes.
He never willingly fought, and always was the first to fall. He was
Yeah.
just a genuinely useless character, and in terms of the comics, he's always been the most useless character. And
You know,
even like,
Faust will remember this. Remember that time Cyborg tried to steal the moon? Remember when that happened?
what?
oh
Yeah,
god,
the Technis imperative when Cyborg came back as a villain and tried to steal the moon, and it took everyone to stop him because he was going to steal the moon.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the problem. Is that like
Basically-
you need to have at least one Hail Mary home. Oh my God, this character did one really cool moment. Like everybody has a definitive story except for Cyborg. Like Jon Stewart, you know, he doesn't have a lot of really awesome stories, but he always has that one, which was the trial like issue. And you know, and then of course Dwayne McDuffie, I think, elevated his character through the cartoon show,
Oh,
and that's why people
absolutely.
like him so much. But Cyborg, there's no definitive Cyborg story.
You know,
That
it's
wasn't-
funny.
That
And
wasn't deliberately manufactured to be a Cyborg story.
well, and that's the issue. There's been a Cyborg series, and no one knows about it because it was
It's not
terrible.
too bad, but it's not horrible. It's not too bad. The idea that he can now regrow his body is kind of cool.
You wanna
That
know what's
is
great?
interesting.
What my favorite New 52 Cyborg moment, it was during Forever Evil when all the big boy heroes were away and Cyborg was left alone. He had to have his body rebuilt because Grid broke off from him.
Yes.
It was him teaming up with the Metal Men to go do some
That was
secret mission
great.
thing. And here's the best thing about that. The Metal Men ended up overshadowing Cyborg. I'm like, man, these Metal Men are so cool. I would totally read a book about these guys. Hey, Cyborg, yeah, I guess you're here too, huh?
Hey, well, dude, I agree with you 100%. That Metal Men book came out, and I was like, is this like a backdoor pilot? Because I would totally read
Oh,
this
totally.
Metalman story. And Cyborg like didn't even show up. They resolved the whole thing, and Cyborg's like, all right, see you later, Metalman. All right, I'm Cyborg. All right, well, let's go back to the rest of the Justice
You're
League.
getting your wish, Benny, because Metalman, Firestorm, and a couple other characters are getting some minis, and yeah, so we will be getting a Metalman book soon enough.
You're good.
What I would have done, personally, if I wanted to add diversity to the DC universe, and they could still do this, is feature Cyborg in the Justice League movie. Don't make him a main part of the cast because he's just not
Well, like
interesting
feature
enough.
the way you feature any character that you're testing. You know,
Yeah.
don't make them a focus point.
And then do a Cyborg and the Doom Patrol movie because he would fit
Hey.
into the Doom Patrol.
'Cause
And
he's
then
weird.
if you make and the Doom Patrol, then that you have an excuse to do basically the most diverse team in comic book history
Yeah.
in terms of DC. And you have a reason
Brought
to.
them back. They're horrible.
I mean,
now.
you. Yeah, but they're horrible without. They're horrible without Crazy Jane. Like, it's a fact. Without
It's
Crazy
it's
Jane.
not the same Doom Patrol now. Now it's like they're on the instead of just being all wacky and quirky. Now it's just like they're kind of evil.
They're DC's X-Men
Doom-
is what they are, but like
Well, the
even
Doom-
more so to like how they are now in Marvel.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Doom Patrol have always been kind of dark. I mean, there was.
Yes.
There was Crazy Jane who had dissociative identity disorder, and each personality had its own powers, and it was. She was just an awesome character, and like I just wanted. If they did Cyborg and the Doom Patrol, they would have a really diverse cast. They'd be able to. And they always had like an equal number of men and women, which doesn't seem to be happening in the Justice League movie either.
No.
Which I don't know. If they, this is my issue. If they want to use diversity as an excuse, they need to show some diversity and not just have a token character.
Thank you. And to
Agreed.
pull it back even further to the poster, what I wanted to say, I don't think he looks good on the poster. I know this is unfinished promo art and it's all subject to change, but he kind of looks like the Gel Man Terminator, like in between changing. Is the
Yeah,
thing?
well, Slash's symbols backwards, so I mean nothing's right on that thing.
His design looks like. I mean, the first of all, if you're gonna make a metal man, if you're gonna make like a robot cyborg dude, that could at least be cool on film. But
Oh, yeah.
clearly, like he has like he looks like the Beast from that WB show Beastly,
Ooh,
where like
ooh.
he's almost a little bit of a cyborg, but
But not
mostly he's
really.
the actor that they're gonna hire to play him. Like it's just. You know, and he's
Actually, I
wearing
will
some
on,
stupid
on that
CGI.
CWB show. You see the beach, you're like that's not too bad. I could deal with
Right,
that.
like I can live with that. He's not really that bad. He looks okay.
But like
oh,
that you could
slightly
live.
scarred.
No,
Yeah,
but I
but
lost my
here's-
modeling contract.
Here's a problem though. Like you don't. That's not okay. Like having subpar looking. Look, it's 2016, guys. Marvel is less than 3 years away from launching Infinity War. We've been
Yeah.
making good comic book movies for the
If
last
we
10
can have
years.
a Vision that looks like Vision,
Like,
why can't we have a cyborg? Who
It's
looks
it's
like
time it's
Which
time to step it
Vision in
up.
the
Like you know.
movie-
Yeah, like it's not the time. It's not DC's not in a position to where they can basically make like a poor man's version of their
They
characters.
keep trying to do
Like-
counter programs. They're like, no, man, Marvel, that's for kids and families. We're gonna be the one for adults. We're gonna make it like that, and that's gonna pay off in the money. I can tell it.
But the thing is,
I like the
with
Disney
them,
Marvel
their
stuff.
idea of making it for adults is making everything dark, and just because something's dark doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
didn't
not
Grant
at all.
Morrison teach us that with Final Crisis? That like, if you tell a dark story for the purpose of being dark, you're just gonna ruin the industry. And in that regard, they're kind of like messing things up because they're deliberately going like, well, it's got to be gritty, and like Superman had to be gritty, and Batman is gritty too, and so like, did you see that clip that they released of Batman versus Superman where
Oh,
Superman
yeah.
faces off against Batman, and he's like, first of all, the worst dialogue I've ever seen in a superhero movie, almost, at least in the last 10 years. And secondly, the lines are, like, don't go to the signal in the sky or you'll be sorry. And you're like, okay, whoa.
Yeah, Superman threatening a guy. What's up with that?
Now, I
That's-
get, like, Batman's, like, clearly a domestic terrorist in this universe, but at the same time, also, like, what? And then the first thing Batman says is, that's where the bleeding line comes in. Tell me, do you bleed? And he just looks like a wacko. Like, it's just... no one in this universe is heroic yet. Now I'm hoping Wonder Woman is cool. I don't know. We'll see. But
I don't like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman already.
I don't know. I've never seen her act, so I have no.
If you, dude, if you haven't seen her act, you haven't missed much. Like, no, there's two
okay.
things she needs to do to be an effective Wonder Woman. One, eat something, and two, be a good actress, and then she can be Wonder
So
Woman.
she's
That being
not.
said, I think she's a fascinating individual, being a beauty queen and like being in the Israeli army. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
But
Yeah,
then,
That's
like,
cool.
every time I talk about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I say I don't like her because I would like a Wonder Woman that's like Lucy Lawless. And everyone says, yeah, but she used to be in the Israeli army. I'm like, I don't care what she did in her personal life.
In fairness, everyone in Israel is forced to join the army for a couple years, so you know there's that too.
I mean, I could be wrong.
Just
She could
like
be like an
Canada.
amazing. She could.
Just like the Canadian militias, we all have to join.
She could be an amazing fighter. I don't care because movies are a visual medium, and I need to be able to take one look at her and say, do you look like a female bodybuilder? Yes or no? And the answer in this case is no. So therefore, for me, she is not a Wonder Woman. Someone like Lucy Lawless would be Wonder Woman.
Now, that
Yeah,
being
but
said,
Lucy
if you can
Lawless is
embody
like
the
60
spirit of
years
the
old and
character,
recovered
Well,
from
they-
heroin.
Someone
Well,
likes
watch-
See it naked on Spartacus right now.
And if you watch Ash vs. the Evil Dead, she looks great.
Yeah. After all the
Totally do
makeup and after all that stuff, like
That I mean, like they're gonna wear makeup. They're movie stars. Like she's gonna
no,
look
they're not.
great in the movie.
They're going to be showing them in their true, like how
yeah,
they look
exactly.
without makeup.
No, this is a real. We're subverting the genre here, ladies and gentlemen. We're turning it on its ear.
Movies are art.
Now, what? Okay, so the only thing that I can say about the poster personally was when I first saw it this morning, I was like, I went, wow. You know what? I will say this for DC movies, they are not just ripping off Marvel movies. Like
No,
they're going full our own version of it. And whether you like it or you hate it, they're at least doing theirs. And I will also say this, have you guys seen the new Suicide Squad like character posters that are like actual art?
Yeah.
I was like, man, this beats the hell out of these crappily photoshopped publicity photo posters that Marvel's putting out. Like,
Dude, I
I
will
would
say
love
that.
to have an Avengers poster that looks really cool, that looks like a movie poster instead of just a crappy Photoshop job. Like, there's a reason why there's a million Infinity War posters, because they took a million publicity photos of all the characters and then just put them all together. And like, I don't know. I like art in my movie posters, and DC's at least trying something, especially in
Well-
the comic book realm. Like, make it art. Like, do something with it.
I will say this, man. Like with the movies coming out this year, like in my opinion, I think Deadpool and Suicide Squad have the chance to be like the two
Winners.
breakout movies because
absolutely.
Suicide Squad is villains acting as heroes, which is going to be a really cool
It's up.
concept.
New, it's interesting. and
Exactly.
for once you're doing dark and gritty, and it makes sense.
And it
You
makes
need-
sense.
Suicide Squad can only be dark and gritty by design, and Deadpool, dude, it's rude, it's funny, it's over
Yeah.
the top, it's everything about reading.
But shouldn't it be PG-13 though?
Oh, dear, man! As soon as I heard about that, as soon as I heard about that petition,
Thing, I
Let's
almost
not gonna,
Oh,
let's not
God.
get into it. I just wanted to make that.
So my issue with the Suicide Squad movie that was mentioned is the Suicide Squad by story is dark and gritty. I will get behind that. By design, in terms of visual mediums, the backgrounds are dark and gritty, but the characters are colourful.
Right.
Every single one of those males in that poster look the exact same. They're all wearing very similar costumes. They're all wearing black. Why do they all look like
you
the
and your
exact same
costumes,
person?
man. You and your
Deadshot looks pretty
costumes.
great.
We're a
Like the
military
Deadshot costume.
organization.
Yeah, I like that costume on him and the other guy and the other guy.
Deadshot, at least he's got white and red in there. It's at least some
Silver
color.
metallic look.
You mean to tell me, Faust, you don't love the greatest actor of our generation, Jai Courtney? I think is it? Yeah, that guy. You don't love Jai Courtney? You
I
mean
mean,
Sam
Jai
Worthington
Courtney so
0.20?
much.
I mean, call me controversial.
Jai Courtney's the worst.
All right, guys. Well, I'm looking at the rest of this. It's like knowing you, Netflix, Punisher, go. You'll talk for an hour, and I've got nothing to contribute. I'm just trying to stay awake.
That's fine, man. Dude, go get out of here, man.
being
Go
on
get
the
some
show,
sleep,
man.
dude.
Now, I will be here next week, though, guys, unless I get the bubonic plague again, or if I get Ebola. If I get either one of those,
Well, you'll, yeah.
if I get Ebola, I'm coming to Canada to give it to Joel. But
Damn it.
thank you, guys. I'm sorry that I've missed the last 3. Well, I technically missed the last 2 weeks because we took 2 weeks off, but it's been a month. I'll be back.
It's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
All right, bye, guys.
Later, man.
Bye, bye.
So, so yeah. So like the Punisher.
I mean,
Like
this has
Punisher
been
on
kicked
Netflix.
around a lot that they're developing it, and I mean, really, is this a surprise to anybody that they're developing a Punisher show? I'm sure they have a whole next wave, phase 2 of Netflix shows that
Dude.
are even
I mean,
darker,
you-
even
So-
sexier.
You
Yeah,
could
I want-
say that if they didn't do it, it would be a punishment.
Ah,
Yes.
pun master in chief Faust over here.
Right. Yeah.
No, I would say that I think they were planning on doing something with the Punisher later on, but I think they intended to use Daredevil as a test to see whether or not the Punisher would be popular.
Oh, certainly.
And then and then as soon as people were like, the Punisher's going to be in, fuck yeah!
they were
And
like,
it's like
"Oh, I
people
guess-
were freaking out.
Yeah, and then they went like, "Oh well, all right. I guess we'll just do the show now."
Yeah, like we'll
screw
just
it, why
fast
not?
track the show and just do it now. So
But I want that. I want a Netflix cinematic universe where they're just like they just rolling in like Age of Ultron when they threw in like you got Silver and Scarlet Witch and Vision and like eventually T'Challa's gonna show. Like I want that in the Netflix shows where it's like Moon Knight and Patsy Walker finally becomes Hellcat and like I want some
Ghost
Punisher
Rider.
action. Maybe Ghost Rider would be a freaking mind-bending amazing. I'm trying not to curse on the show. It would be freaking amazing to see Ghost Rider. Can you imagine that show? Like the cojones, the huevos on those on the showrunners for Netflix for any show. It doesn't matter what show it is, but like where Daredevil's like swinging through, and then just this rolls up, and this dude with a skull head, and it's just
On his hell bike.
and you don't cast an actor, you just have a really damn good voice actor. Just
Keith
go, like,
David is Ghost
Keith
Rider.
David just goes like, okay, and you're like, ah, like, yeah, it'd be amazing. And by the way, drop the Defenders moniker. You're still in an early enough phase where you could drop it and then call them Marvel Knights.
Well, no, here's the thing. They need to be the they need to be the Defenders. That way, the next group of Punisher and whatever, they're the Marvel Knights. That way, you got two
No,
teams.
what I would like to see happen is the Defenders get together, and by the end of the series, they're all kind of like, "You guys suck. Let's break. Let's split." And then the next Marvel 2.0,
Yeah,
Marvel Netflix 2.0, they all become a new group of Defenders, and then they stick together, and then the ones after that become Marvel Knights, and it's like a good mix of the original Defenders and new characters.
That'd be cool. Because I want some Moon Knight shows. I want some Ghost Rider shows. I mean, it'd be amazing to get some maybe a Sleepwalker show that's really trippy and bizarre. Like,
Dude, a Sleepwalker show. Let me tell you something, man. If they did something with a Sleepwalker show, it'd be cool. Because you'd literally have a guy who's like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep
I'm gonna
now,
go to bed,
and then
my
like
alien
his
parasite
alien would come out and start attacking people. It'd be interesting.
I specifically want to see a Runaway show just for Rob's reaction.
No.
I wouldn't watch it. I
That would be
would
priceless.
explicitly just not watch the Runaway show.
But guys, what about a Fool Killer show? When are we finally gonna get our Netflix Fool Killer show?
I bet I'm putting it out there right now. Fool Killer will be either in will be on the Punisher show.
Dude, I
see
don't.
it.
Okay, I don't. It wouldn't make any sense to do Fool Killer unless they had like Deadpool, because the problem is if they did Fool Killer, he would basically be the Punisher.
And he's in the Deadpool book right now.
He's in the
Fool
Deadpool
Killer.
book right
He's-
now, yeah.
He's one of the
Yeah.
mercs for money. I
One of
love
the
that
other
he
guys.
hired Terror and Fool
Well,
Killer
he
and-
crossed over. He crossed over with Deadpool a long time ago too, like in the early '90s. Like they met and
yeah.
crossed over a couple times.
You know what would be like the best situation ever is
Yeah.
if this next X-Men movie failed so hard
Oh my god!
that the X-Men had to go back to Marvel, and Marvel say, "We're not doing any X-Men movies, but have 3 X-Men TV shows or 3 X-Men Netflix
Dude,
shows."
I will always say that, and I'm kind of curious. I'm going to ask the chat, like, if you guys who are watching this, if you could have any character in a Netflix show from like Marvel or DC, who would it be? But
Wolverine on Netflix would be
Wolverine
sick.
on Netflix would be pretty cool. But I would
Where he could
say
actually cut people, unlike in the cartoons and unlike in a bunch of
destroying
other
robots.
stuff. Yeah, where you could actually cut arms off.
See, I've been saying for ages, forever, that they need to make a Red Robin show, and they need to cast me as Tim Drake. And none
That's
of my
what you've been saying forever.
none of my subscribers have been taking me seriously.
Let me tell you,
Surprisingly.
if we ever
Um,
get anywhere near that, I will definitely put your name in the hat.
But then,
You gotta
but
work
then-
on your Gothamite voice though.
but then I uploaded those pictures of me in the suit, and people were like, "Actually, no, you look like you could be adopted by Bruce Wayne." Actually, yeah. Let's. You could be Tim Drake. Yeah.
No,
Look, if they
I
ever do a new Green Arrow show based on the current run, can I be Fife? I know I'm not Asian, but can I be Fife? Can I be like his chubby hacker buddy? I'd be cool with that. Hey, all you you're doing a great job. Here, let me break them files for you.
Be
don't
like
know
an
why
Asian
you would talk like
stereotype. Yeah, I was like, you can be an Asian stereotype. Is that what you're gonna be?
I don't know what that voice was. That was some weird proto New York Bugs Bunny thing. Yeah, what's up, Green Arrow?
I knew I should have taken that right at Albuquerque. was it the
Take
right
that
turn or
right
left
at
turn? I
Bloodhaven.
can't remember if he always said a right turn or left turn.
Yeah.
It was
That left turn at Albuquerque, yeah. But no, like I say, because like if Fox is gonna have the ability to make shows on X-Men characters,
Fire Club show and
like
another
dude,
one.
I say to this day, like Marvel got the rights to the Fantastic Four.
I hope so.
Something happened. Like Marvel got something back.
That was the
still-
theory that if they got the rights to make the show, they had to have traded something to
Dude,
get them, because you don't get
Yeah,
something for
you
nothing.
don't get something for nothing.
I don't think I've ever told this story in the podcast. So a few months ago, I actually went to Fox and they showed me like half the Deadpool movie, a bit of the upcoming X-Men movie, and they did a Q&A on like upcoming comic book movies. Fantastic Four just wasn't mentioned because it was
No.
just after the movie failed. And eventually, someone did say, "So what's going on with Fantastic Four?" The look on this woman's face just becomes so shallow, and then she goes, "Right, well, time to break.
Wow,
You might as well have asked her, hey, how about your dead son?
dude, that Faust look right now is like your screen's frozen, Faust, and it looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Your screen froze fast, but yes.
It looks
Staring directly into our souls.
But no, like I said, like Marvel got the rights to something. They got Silver Surfer and Galactus, or they got the all the properties of Fantastic Four as a
That's what I
whole.
was saying forever.
They got
It's like,
Doctor
look, keep
Doom,
the heroes, but give
something.
us the villains.
Yeah.
At very least, I just hope that Marvel got Doctor Doom, and then we'll see Books of Doom be
Dude,
made
that's
into a
all I
movie.
want. All I want is Doctor Doom. They can have everything else. I want Doom. I want Victor. I want to see a post-credits scene where, and like Avengers Infinity War or something, you know, I want to see a post-credits scene where, like, you know, at the end of
wall
Civil
with
War,
Latveria.
you know, where all that shit's happening, and it's literally just like a camera panning out to some guy sitting on a throne, because he's got to be sitting on a throne, like having some guy sitting on a throne in a suit of metal, you know, and he just says interesting or something like that,
Right. Or-
you know.
And you know how they do it too, because the Marvel movies love to update stuff and pull from the headlines. Okay, Doctor Doom and Latveria, you are now Kim Jong Un in North Korea. Go.
Dude, just go with that, man.
A North
Oh,
Korea
no, what?
Latveria would be freaking amazing.
What could even? Imagine if they don't even show someone on a throne. They don't even show Doctor Doom. They just show a news report of a civil war happening in Latveria. And
Or
it's
just
like-
mention
And we would
Latveria.
know what it
you know?
means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or just say like the newly crowned king of Latveria, or something like that. Like something just know Latveria and just be like, we got Doom, awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I want is just a confirmation we got him.
Yeah, that'd
But I
be
also want
pretty
like I
sweet.
want Marvel Cosmic to be unified again. I want my Galactus. I want
Yeah.
the Watcher. I want it all. Like
Well, that would be the biggest thing. Is, I mean, if you've got Infinity War, assuming that it plays out like Infinity Gauntlet, there's going to be some kind of an event, and they already teased to the cosmic entities and Guardians of the Universe, and they like if you guys, I don't know if you guys ever got it or not, but if you guys got the official, like the super duper, you know, Blu-ray, it gave you like all the concept drawings and all the information on the cosmic entities and all that kind of stuff, you know, and so it gave you all that
Did get the,
background
CS,
information.
the Celestials in Guardians, so that's pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, like all the groundwork's there for all the cosmic entities to come together, except that they don't have Galactus. And I got to tell you, you know, with the Marvel Cosmic series, if you're going to do something like Infinity War, where you're going to have Thanos literally, you know, just laying waste to virtually everything in existence with the Infinity Stones, it'd be weird to just not see Galactus there.
well, and like
See,
if you're
I
gonna
would-
have the Marvel Elders and Celestials and stuff like that, you gotta have Galactus. You
Yeah.
can't not. Like you can't pretend that that like one of the most recognizable features. Like you can't pretend that the Collector is more interesting or cool
Yeah.
than Galactus. You,
But what about all the other masters of the universe, like the Gardener and the Champion of the universe?
Oh,
and all
yeah.
those guys?
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
like that's cool, I guess, but no.
I would like to see the Marvel sort of cinematic and TV franchise expand to the point where they can start doing sort of more artistic movies and stuff like that.
Ah,
So really
yes.
experimental stuff. And I just want to see a really, really trippy movie that's from the perspective of death. Like, and
Mistress
just-
Death.
I'd watch
and it
that.
just it sort of attempts to translate omnipotence into a movie format.
Well, the question is, how would you do that? Because in Marvel Comics, they have like 15 different scenarios for what happens when a
get
person
that really
dies.
great German director. What's his name? Oh God, he does all those really avant-garde documentaries on the tip of my tongue. Why can't I remember?
I don't
Lars
know.
von Trier. You get Lars
Oh,
von
Lars
Trier
von Trier. Dude,
to
Melancholia
do a
was so
Marvel
good.
death movie, and he'd be like, "Okay, I will do this project, but in return, I want something."
Did you
crazy."
guys ever see
Ivan?
like totally off topic? Did you guys ever see Melancholia?
No.
Yes, I
Dude,
did.
it was literally a movie about a planet crashing into Earth,
Yeah,
but it
it
was
was an
really
incursion
cool.
movie.
It was an incursion movie, but it was really cool. Like it was a really cool movie. If you guys love, like those of you in the chat, if you guys love End of the World movies, Melancholia is for you. But no, like
Don't see it if you suffer from depression, because it will make you want to slit your
yeah, it'll make
wrists.
you
It's
want to
Well,
slit
yeah,
your
it's one
wrist.
of those movies. Yeah.
But no, like I agree with Faust. Like I think something cool because here's the issue with that I have with the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. There are elements that are cool. There are elements like the Guardians of the Galaxy are really cool. But we've never seen the Elders before. The only Elder we've seen is the Collector. We've never seen
Yeah.
we haven't seen the Grandmaster. We haven't seen the Runner. we haven't seen
the
the.
Grandmaster.
I really want to see the
By
Grandmaster.
the way, okay, really quick, fan cast the Grandmaster.
Ooh,
Who would you play? Who would play the Grandmaster?
Ooh,
Donald Sutherland.
He's good.
I'd have Clint Eastwood play the Grandmaster.
Oh,
Could you imagine a Clint Eastwood Grandmaster?
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
balling. It'd have to be some old guy,
You know
like
who
some
I'd
old
like
white
to say,
guy.
I'm gonna submit. I'd like Jim Carrey to take the Grandmaster.
Really?
Okay. Explain.
Like number 13, kind of like he's because the Grandmaster is playful, but also, deeply old and psychotic. And Jim Carrey is clearly a damaged person. And
Yes.
That's why I was gonna go with Neil Patrick Harris because
Oh
like
my
he plays.
God.
Oh
sort
god.
That's
of
pretty good.
that would be
playful, but-
Marvel's way of being like, look at how hip and young and hot.
Either I
Sam
would take
Elliott.
I would take Clint Eastwood or I would take James Woods. James
Oh,
Woods I think would be a
great
cool.
Grandmaster.
He'd
Yeah,
be
we
a
gotta
great
get James
Grandmaster.
Woods
Yeah.
in these movies somewhere.
That old
Yeah.
Marvel just come totally out of Left Wing and say, "Here's the Grandmaster, played by Maisie Williams."
I was gonna say, Faust gave me a great just thought. Like, I'd love to see Neil Patrick Harris get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe somehow.
Okay, he could play
Neil
like the
Patrick
Runner.
Harris is Richard Rider.
Richard.
Richard, dude, I would watch a Neil Patrick
He would
Harris
be a
Richard Rider.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
See, I want to see Neil Patrick Harris in the Marvel Cinematic Universe playing a character like Doctor Horrible.
Ah,
Ah.
Neil Patrick Harris is Adam Warlock.
He'd be a good. I mean, like anyone from Superior Foes, he'd be great.
Oh God.
I mean,
Dude,
well,
Neil
we'll see.
Patrick
Like,
Harris is Boomerang. Oh my
Actually,
God.
I kind of want to see him if they do a Runaways TV show as the kid that had the science parents
Yes,
that brought back. I would want to see him as one of her parents.
that'd be fun.
Dad is literally Doctor Horrible.
I mean, I think Neil Patrick Harris would work as like Richard Rider because they already like revealed Richard Rider in the Guardians
Oh,
of the
we
Galaxy
saw,
movie.
like, yeah,
So,
we got
like-
Novacores, like you could.
Yeah, the Nova Corps exists. It's
No,
out
no,
there.
no. I mean, like, did you guys didn't spot that? The number of Easter eggs you guys did not spot astounds me.
I'm not in the movie. I'm not looking for stuff.
Richard
not looking for
Richard
bookmarks.
Rider was mentioned in Guardians of the Galaxy, but
Well, yeah, because the guy, friggin' what's his face, the big chubby Nova Corps member, that's the same name as the guy who discovered Richard Rider on Earth.
no, the
Yeah.
the Richard Rider, the name, the character is referenced in the movie. There's a scene where like they're going through all these different names, all these different lists,
Oh,
and
yeah.
one of them is Richard Rider. So
Well, those are always filled with stuff.
I'm just saying, man, Richard Rider exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I never doubted it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I would like it's. I don't know. I mean, I do agree that like Galactus is needed. Now my scenario, because let's throw out some scenarios here, because I love it when we do this, like when we throw out scenarios and stuff. My scenario would be to have, once Thanos acquires the Infinity Stones. My scenario would literally be, like there's something happening, whatever, on Earth, some event takes place or whatever it is that Thanos grabs it. And, like he looks at somebody off the screen, and says, tell your master I'm coming. And, like it cuts to Silver Surfer just like racing towards Galactus. And he's like Thanos has acquired the Infinity Stones. And then it just cuts to black.
That would be freaking.
See,
That'd be amazing.
how I would do it is totally different, and I think some people will agree with this. I would, because we know Galactus is big and bad, and it will be predictable to bring him in as we know him. So how I would do it is, in a post-credit scene of Infinity War, where we see the Avengers fighting Thanos, and it's a huge thing. The post-credit scenes is that, and then it says, "Meanwhile, elsewhere," and it pans to a park, and then a squirrel just runs.
Oh
straight-
God, in
I knew
heaven.
you were going there. I knew, like, he's gonna work Squirrel Girl in here. I know it.
Oh man.
But here's the question: will this Galactus be a cloud, though? Will he be a big
No, it'll
cloud?
be a
He'll be
guy.
a giant purple man.
Yeah, Purple
As he-
Man,
No, he'll
voiced
be
by
a giant.
someone really cool.
He'll be a giant purple dog.
Yeah.
Really?
Please tell me you've seen the Squirrel Girl book where he's a giant
Galactus,
purple dog.
Galactus, the big purple dog.
Well, 'cause-
Before I die, just once, I want to see a live-action movie with Galactus with the big, dumb, like Jack Kirby-ish helmet.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
dude,
like,
I
you
wanna
can make
see
that
that
cool.
scene. Like, I want to see the scene from like Hickman's Fantastic Four, where Galactus, like, after he's done talking to Reed about his son, he's like, now you must leave this planet. He's like,
I
Galactus
think it was, like,
hungers, and
the-
people are like, no, don't
I
eat
think
our
it was like
planet.
the end of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the video game where they tease a Galactus
Yeah.
for the sequel. There's a really cool design of Galactus in there, and he's rendered in sort of like semi.
It's awesome, dude.
realistic.
Yeah.
When he's looking down, dude's just like, I'm like, see, that's the Galactus for the movie right there. That's the
Yeah.
one.
But the question that I would ask is here, and this is what would really throw people off, is something that I was thinking about the other day. You know, when I was thinking about, like, you know, Galactus, cosmic entities, and how all that would unfold, is whenever we're used to, like, whenever we see characters, they're always like standing or in the proximity of an object, like, you know, proximity of like something with that's similar in size, like Thanos, for example. Thanos was floating on his chair, but we could look at him and within reason, you know, say he may or may not be the same size as Ron the Accuser. He's probably a lot bigger.
He's
but,
a big dude. He's beefy.
Yeah, he's a
beefy dude.
huge guy. But imagine, like, you know, a scene from Infinity War and Galactus is doing something, standing next to the Earth, and the Earth looks like the size of a golf ball.
Oh, that'd be
Like,
cool.
it'd be cool, but it would just be so mind-boggling to see.
Yes.
He's literally got the whole world in his hands.
Yeah, like he's just like has his hand into the world, you know, like imagine what I could do with this, or something along those lines, you know. But
Yeah.
like it would dude, that would be mind blowing. Like it would just throw. That's why I say Doctor Strange is going to change everything when that movie comes out. It's going to change the entire Marvel Cinematic
For the
Universe.
better, I hope. I'm not,
Oh, I
I'm
think
really
it,
hoping
dude,
Yeah.
for it.
definitely, I think it will.
It's got Doctor Strange has a great creative team behind it. Hopefully, I don't remember the director, but I remember
Scott Derrickson, who directed a bunch of horror movies but showed a lot of chops and is ready to break through.
Right.
And one of the writers on there is Robert Carlyle, who is one of the rare instances of a movie critic turned movie writer. He worked for Ain't It Cool News for years. He worked for Spill.com as Carlyle for years, and now he's writing this.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I think it's
the
going
director
to
sounds
change.
great.
Yeah, I think it's going to change things for the better. I really think it is, because it's going to introduce just, you know, that it's going to feel, I think, a lot like Avatar in terms of like the overall ambiance of the environment, in terms of how wild things look, but it's going to take away the grounded nature
Yes.
of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and introduce something more exotic than what we saw
grounded
with
in a
Thor.
world of gods, monsters, and dudes. in
Yeah,
armor.
but the
Yeah,
the
but that's
character.
fine. Like, no, but the ground should fall right out from under the Marvel Cinematic Universe when
What-
Doctor Strange opens the door, like the doorway to whatever, like the
Yeah.
infinity doorway.
One thing I would like to see start being introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that was explored in Jessica Jones is how people are scared of these superheroes. Not everyone is.
Scared to death of it to the point where they don't want to admit that they exist.
I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that will be explored in Civil War.
I mean,
Hold on, what
that-
was it? That what doesn't exist?
Oh, that
That-
they're so afraid that, you know, there might be entities out there so powerful that they could subvert their own will, that they're like, la 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 la,
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
exist, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they have to kind of do that because the staple in the Marvel universe was obviously the hate towards mutants, and they don't have mutants, so they just kind of have to make all superheroes hated.
You can
Hey,
I mean,
you
like,
pal.
that's a transferable thing. You can definitely make the
Yeah.
argument. You could, because I mean, I remember I was pitching a book once to a really, really huge hardcore comic book fan, and I said something about, like, you know, I actually, this is back in like 2001, and I was like, so there's this Superhuman Registration Act. Like, I was suggesting like the idea that like all powers had to be registered, and she was like, you mean like they did with the X-Men a million times? Stupid, and like just completely shut me down. And I was like, but that's totally transferable. You could definitely be like, yeah, no, instead of them trying to register mutants, they're registering powers, and you just make them. You know,
Well, yeah, I
you
mean,
transfer
and-
the plight of the mutants into the plight of the superhero.
Yeah, and it would have been a great way to like fold Netflix, because imagine if there was some meeting some behind closed doors meeting with government officials wherever. And they say, well, it's one thing when the Hulk's rampaging because we have ways to slow him down. What do you do when there's a man that can make you do things you don't want to do?
Exactly.
And reference Purple Man, like, how do you control that? Like, we need to register these powers or something
Or
along
they're
those
like,
lines.
What do you do? They could even make the argument like, what do you do when they all get together and form a special secret club? Oh, where?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
the Avengers.
I mean,
Yeah.
one thing the chat is asking is, should Marvel get the rights to the X-Men back? How would you introduce them in that universe? And I think
That's
the
tough
most
at this point.
I think the most simple thing is to, rather than make it about a group of people that are shunned for their powers in society because they're so open, is to make it about a group of people that are ashamed of their powers in the context of this universe.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just the only way that you can transfer it
Like,
and
hey,
keep
I
that
didn't get
negative
it from an
factor.
accident. I didn't, get it from some super soldier program. I was born this way, man.
Yeah, and they've literally just been they're like the Inhumans, just been in hiding this entire time.
Yeah,
with something
exactly.
along
You,
those
you,
lines.
you can easily introduce the mutants by just simply saying they've always been there.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't. I think that you'd have to make it a society to introduce them. That you couldn't just make it the original
Oh,
class.
it's like a
You'd have
total
to-
secret society is what it is. They have their own
You know what you could
symbols.
do? The way you could do it is you don't even need to introduce like a society like the humans where it's like in a secret city somewhere. You just have to introduce Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants are actually like a group or a cult or something. Like
Yeah.
you make it an actual make it so that for the most part mutants keep their shit together and keep on the down low and just pretend they don't have powers or pretend that
And-
they're not different. And Magneto's the only one who's like, I am a mutant and proud, and I got these people here behind me, and we go to like secret meetings, and we have like we and they do like either heinous stuff or just mutant like related activities.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
And
you
do
could. Oh, go ahead, Faust.
And you could do the same for the Xavier School, where it's
Yeah.
literally a school, but it goes right back to they go to you if you're a mutant. They detect you, and that's how you get into the school.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
but there's see that's the cool thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is there's so many stepping stones. Say for example that Marvel got the rights back to the X-Men for whatever reason nobody knew, but they had the rights to the X-Men back in
Yeah.
for film use. They could say you could have Magneto come along and say, if they're going to register those who aren't mutants, it's only a matter of time before they come for us.
And that's
And
his,
so
and
what
that's
they
his
that's
rallying cry.
that's his rallying cry for like coming out and saying like now like we all need to band together, and then suddenly there's millions of mutants around the world and nobody ever knew about
Like, hey, as a Holocaust survivor, I know what it's like when governments start making lists.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
here's a
and it'd
question.
be a great way to build onto it.
Do you with Marvel's X-Men, do you go Holocaust route and cast another old guy, or do you just call Michael Fassbender and say, "Do you want to still be Magneto?"
You
That
call
would be
you call another old guy. I say you call another old guy. Michael
Yeah.
They're
Fassbender was
probably going to
cool,
do another
but
old guy, but
I'd
I
say
like
do another old
Fassbender.
guy. I will say that Fassbender was he
Doing a good
man
job.
he solidified my view of him as a great actor with X-Men Origins and the whole hunt for Kevin
For
Bacon.
Shaw.
Yeah, for Shaw.
Yeah.
Like that was such a
Oh
really
yeah,
cool.
like him
thing.
hunting down Nazi war criminals. Where I'm like, oh, I could see how this was like a whole other movie before.
That
he
was a
decided
movie.
to
It was
reboot.
called X-Men Origins Magneto. I read it. I reviewed it on my old before YouTube. I had a Tumblr that had a couple
Nice.
that we got a C&D from Fox, so that I reviewed the script, and I'm like, the movie is literally because the movie's never going to be made. Like it's what became of First Class, but like X-Men Origins Magneto
Wow.
was just a movie about Charles and Charles actually is one of the American liberators of the concentration camp that Magneto's
Oh, wow.
held in, and then they become friends and grow up together, and then they just and Magneto like leaves at night and just hunts down and viciously murders Nazis, and
Interesting.
Charles chases him, like, so it's Charles like looking for Magneto, and like when he finally catches up with him, he's like, you gotta stop, and Magneto's like, or you could help me, and then the two of them team up and catch Nazis, and then of course
Wow.
like one of the Nazis has like is a mutant and has powers and blah, and then you have this like big fight at some compound, and it's neat, but like. So
Wow.
I was like, oh, cool. Like, if they make movies like this, the X-Men Origins brand is going to be solid. And then they made X-Men Origins Wolverine.
And it was a stinker.
But
that was-
Fox sent you a cease and desist for reviewing
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, no. Well, what's great about it is I didn't even get the cease and desist. This is how nice Tumblr was, by the way, back in the day. One day my post was gone. The most popular post I ever posted was that one. I also wrote a review of Dummy, which is on IMDb, and it started there. but like, so I've done a couple of reviews that had gotten some notoriety, and the Magneto review, one day I logged in and it was gone, and I'm like, where'd my review go? I would never
The hell,
delete it.
man.
And then I checked my inbox, and Tumblr emailed me, like somebody from Tumblr, and they said, like, about a month ago, Fox contacted us and asked us to remove your post, and we've been in a legal dispute with them for the last month trying to keep
Oh,
the
wow.
post up.
Wow.
But unfortunately, we can't hold back the tide of Fox's legal team, and so as such, we've emailed you your post. Your post is here. Here's all the stats that came with the post. Here's how many views it had. Blah blah blah. Like, so that you can preserve what you had, and we didn't get rid of it from you. Like, we didn't delete it from nothing. But unfortunately, we can't host it on Tumblr anymore. I'm
That's
really
crazy.
sorry. You know, good
That's
luck.
actually really cool.
It was really cool.
That's
and I'm
really
like,
cool.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tumblr's got my
I
vote.
never thought I'd say this, but hey, YouTube, you could take some pointers from old Tumblr right
Yeah,
here
from
by the
Yeah.
sounds of it.
2004. Yeah.
Oh my god. YouTube's content ID system.
I mean, like going back a topic, like I guess like if they wanted to introduce like thousands of X-Men into the Marvel universe, I think a good way to do it would be to sort of do X-Men in reverse. So to start with the 198,
Oh.
and then
That would be cool.
introduce the Phoenix Force. Phoenix Force causes a lot.
Oh. See, I was gonna say you could just do that if they got the rights, they could do it at the end of Infinity War, where like
Right.
Thanos, maybe he's like about to die or he's about to lose, and he's like, "I'm about to make your life a whole lot more complicated," and he like and uses the gauntlet to create mutants or something like that. Like
Well,
make the
but
mutants
then-
birth from that.
But then it would imply that they gained their powers rather than were born with
That they're
them.
born with it, exactly.
Or he could,
Like,
or I
those
mean, at the end of the story, he could just wipe out half the life on the planet, and then just like suddenly, you know, or something like. There's a lot of different roads you could take.
Yeah, there's different ways to do it, but like
You could have someone give a speech where it's like, you know, after Thanos caused all that death and destruction, you know, the scales of the universe are out of balance, and the world always finds a way to balance those scales, and then
Yeah.
just, like the X gene take form.
Yeah, something along those lines. So what were the other topics that we had?
Well,
Um,
it's funny. We started this talking about Netflix Punisher as the hilarious thing, and now we're on X Men.
all I'll say about that is it's gonna be cool, and I can't wait.
Oh yeah, John Byrne thought like it was only a matter of
Basically a
time.
foregone conclusion at this point
Yeah.
that it's
Yep.
happened.
It's going to be awesome.
I guess next topic is
Man,
Teen
Faust,
Titans
don't
versus
sound so
Justice
depressed,
League.
man. You just
Oh,
sound
yeah.
mopey. Faust,
I?
you sound like Daria. You just sound so mopey.
Because he was just reading about the Teen Titans versus Justice League cartoon,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The
which
next one.
I have no interest in and have no opinion about.
Nah.
It's, you know, I watch all of them, even though I will full up, you know, admit that the ones in this new 52 interconnected continuity are nowhere near as good as the standalone ones. The
Nope.
last two ones, as far as I'm concerned, were Gods and Monsters and the Suicide Squad one because they weren't in the continuity. And you know that Killing Joke one is probably going to be good too because it's also
You know,
not
isn't
connected.
that a shame? Like let's talk. Isn't that crazy that a cartoon movie does better than live action films? They're more interesting. They're more intriguing. It's the same amount of time. You know,
Like,
they're more
because
interesting.
it's
They're
written
more
by
intriguing.
fans who really
Exactly,
care and put
that's the
extra
difference,
little
you know?
effort into it.
Well, they're also not limited by budget. They could go to the moon, or they could fight a monster made of 6 heads. Like they don't have to worry about like the budgeting of that.
Yeah,
Animated
but I'm
movies
just
can do
talking about the
any-
story, just like the overall story of the.
Well,
thing.
again, they're not being. You know why? Because I'm sure animated movies, despite the fact that it takes a million more people to make the thing in the movie happen, like the animators I'm talking about, there are fewer cooks in the kitchen, and there's fewer vested interests in making it make money and be commercially
yeah,
successful.
you're not getting
Yeah.
boatloads of notes from so and so's people, you know, because it's like, well, you know, we need more brand synergy with this, and then you're not reaching enough white males.
Yeah,
with
they don't have to
this.
worry about playing up the whole like brand. They don't have to worry about like product placement or censorship. They don't have to worry about like all these like producers and financing and investments. There's so much money tied up in any movie, and all of them want their money back. And when it comes to an animated movie, it's more like, what do we have? That's how much it costs. The end of the story. Like there you go.
I mean,
Yeah, plus you
I
have a
mean,
lot
I-
more freedom in terms of what the characters say, how they, and so on.
And
Yeah.
it's different departments at WB as well, because one's WB
Totally different, yeah.
Yes.
Entertainment and the other one's WB Animation.
Now, the story for this, as it goes, is this will be the big introduction of the Teen Titans into this new 52 shared animated universe. And the team is quite interesting. We've got Starfire, we've got Raven, we've got Nightwing, But we also have Damian Robin, so Stuart Allen is back
Yeah.
from Batman v Robin and Son of Batman. They're really pushing him, so he's on the team. Beast Boy is going to be on the team. That's a character, Rob. You see Beast Boy. He's also known as Changeling.
Yeah,
He's
thank
green and
you.
he changes into
Thank
guy.
you.
Right, right. Before the show started,
No.
Rob legitimately said, "Who is Beast Boy?"
Who's the green guy?
No. What
Is
I
he like a
said.
we were all
No, that's not what I
gasping.
said. That's not what I said, guys. People in the chat, don't listen to these people.
No,
What I
listen to
what I
him.
said what I
history.
said was, why is he included in this roster? Is what I
He was
said.
in the
You said
cartoon.
more like
No,
who cares?
I said why why is he included in the roster?
No, you didn't.
Because he's on the
That's
team
what
a
I
lot,
said.
and he was on the cartoon, and people like. What's interesting is Blue Beetle is now on the team too, even though he's not in the comics currently. He has a
Not even at
canceled
all.
book.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
he was in the Teen Titans briefly.
For like a hot minute.
Yeah, when Supergirl was in the Teen Titans.
What a
and
what a waste. Poor Jaime Reyes, man. That dude should have been so huge. Like he could have been DC's Spider-Man if they
Yeah.
spun him just right, but he never gets a chance. Poor
My
Jaime.
problem with it, like, alien suit never really works.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's just not enough.
This.
It-
it's,
They did so much.
Just
more
lost for
stuff.
words.
I've got so many feelings about this, and I want to. Everyone wants me to be like, oh my god, the Teen Titans animated movie, it's gonna be great, but
What's funny about this is that they're finally making it now because DC Animation has been threatening to do a Teen Titans movie forever. Like
true.
Judas Contract was on the table forever, and they just never
And-
got around to
and
it.
why do they have to be tied to the Justice League when they're already big enough in terms of animation to justify their own movie? Best way to do it: do a 15+ movie, do Judas Contract in its truest form. It was already a great storyline in the original Teen Titans cartoon, and then the DC could advertise it as like, see the true story. Like,
It's bizarre they didn't do Judas
Eh,
Contract first.
And my question too, because they're building this shared universe. What's your end goal for this shared universe, guys? Because it only seems to be the Batman and the Justice League movies that are connected. What are you building up to with this?
I
I
know what it is.
don't even think they know. Yeah, well, maybe it's a review, but I don't
Uh.
even. You know what I think I think on Friday I'm gonna do a video on like what I think like the best movies of this year are gonna be. But no, like I don't think they have any clue, to be honest. Like I think literally, like here's how I literally think it played out. I think that Marvel came along, they released Iron Man. DC was like, it's whatever. And then they came along and they released Thor, Captain America, so on,
You
those
like
solo
shared
films.
continuities in. You
Yeah,
gotta do that.
and then like
Oh, they
phase
want
phase
this.
one, because you guys remember the hype. I mean, you remember the hype, like when in Iron Man, when like Captain America's shield was there,
Yes.
and you were like, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Captain America's shield was an Iron Man," and people were freaking out, and DC was just kind of like, "Oh well,
But it's
we
like
got
for
we
the
got to do
cartoons,
something."
it doesn't have any of the impact because it's like, guys, your universes have been shared in cartoons forever. I remember Justice League. I remember Young Justice. This doesn't wow me in the movies. What wowed me about the movies was when you picked a really good story, adapted it really well, got some of my favorite voice actors in there, and just told a good story with a
Yes.
beginning, middle, and an end.
But that's the problem is there's no unifying theme. There's no unifying factor. I don't expect the cartoons and the live action films to share the same universe, but I would hope at this point that there'd be some universe sharing going on there,
I mean, and especially because like the cartoons, they like experimented so much with them
Oh, yeah.
in terms of shared universes because like especially like around 2003 when the Teen Titans cartoon first started, that was going to share the same universe as the Batman animated series.
Yeah,
and
there's a
Static
line
Shock.
in a static crossover with
Yeah.
Batman Beyond. He's like, "Where's Robin? Oh, he's with the Titans. You'll meet them one day." You liar! No, we didn't.
No, we won't.
And then the Teen Titans was going to be in the same continuity as the Batman, the one that was more of a detective comic series as opposed to
Yes.
a Batman series. And then which is why they introduced Barbara Gordon first in that series, and that didn't go through. So then they had like this really awkward, sassy Dick Grayson.
But hey guys, we got a crossover between Teen Titans going, the canceled Young Justice. I bet you liked that. I bet that made you feel real good, didn't it?
I was so happy with how angry Young Justice fans were about that, because I didn't like Young Justice, but I like Young Justice fans being angry.
What's so amazing about that crossover is the writers of that Teen Titans Go episode completely missing the point of why people were angry. Where it's like, hey, we're the silly Teen Titans, but what if we got more serious? What if we got more Dark Knight Returns? No, that's not us. No, the problem was never that you were too serious. The problem was that your show isn't very well written, and it's the fact that I, as an adult, cannot get into it where I could get into Young Justice. That is the problem.
But then you're not the demographic that show is aimed at.
I know I'm not, but I used to be.
I know a lot of, like, say, 12 to 7-year-old boys that love that show.
Oh, if that's the case, you go right for it. If you are 7 to 12, this is for you, man.
Yeah, and that is who Young Justice, or Teen Titans Go is aimed at. So for adults and sort of 15-year-olds to be complaining, I don't like this show. It's like, so this show ain't for you then.
Well, it's like because you had a show that worked so well before, but you mismanaged it into the ground, and now you're pandering.
Oh, well, the issue of Young Justice is everyone sort of blames, oh my god, they didn't sell enough merch, or girls were buying the merchandise, so they closed the show. That is taking everything out of context for that show. First off, no one was watching it on Cartoon Network. Everyone was streaming it illegally online.
It had a huge internet following. It did.
And so they couldn't make the money back on the show in ad revenue to continue it. Secondly, there was a huge issue with merchandise in general. It wasn't that girls were buying the merchandise. It was that no one was buying the merchandise.
And the reason with that is because the toy companies really mishandled it because a lot of it didn't make it to stores, and the stuff that stuck around is now a huge collector's item because it's connected to this cult show that is now gone. I have the Aquaman and Aqualad up on my shelf that I bought for an exorbitant sum because it's a collector's item now to actually have any merch from that show.
Here's the thing, they're still in Toys R Us in England in like the clearance bin. They just can't get rid of them.
Yo, dude, send me some of those. I want to finish my collection. Get me the Red Arrow.
Wow.
That's what Joel wants. That's what's on his list. But the big story for this one that they've set out there is that Trigun, again voiced by John Berthal, the Punisher, is going to take over the main Justice League. So it's up to the Teen Titans to stop them. Which again, not based on any story. That's another problem with these new DC animated movies and continuity. They've stopped adapting stories. They'll take titles, but then they'll just pick and choose and make up their own thing.
Yeah, that's.
And here is my issue with this story. Trigun, as soon as he enters this dimension, will be able to destroy the planet. He doesn't need to work for it. The point of the Teen Titans constantly fighting Trigun is to stop him from even setting foot in this dimension because he is that powerful. So to say, oh, he took over the Justice League and now it's like that sort of just, why would he do that when he's clearly been able to make it into the dimension?
What a great design of Trigun. I love the 4 eyes. I love the antler horns he's got. That's a great design for a Satan stand-in.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last topic before we bounce off here. What was the last thing that we had?
I just put this one on to fill time, but Harley Quinn is getting another book. Although technically not. It's Harley and her gang of Harleys, and it's going to be a 6-issue miniseries that's going to actually focus and flesh out the background of her new gang members. If you've been reading the Harley Quinn,
I will not be buying that.
So how many Harley Quinn books are there now?
Harley Quinn's Little Black Book. I guess you could count Suicide Squad in there.
That's for sure.
There was the Harley Quinn and Power Girl miniseries that was done, that wrapped after 6, and now a new miniseries, which is being written by Jimmy Palmiotti with art by Amanda Conner, but it's also being written by Frank Terry as well, so he has a hand in it, so they're actually bringing in some new people to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's 5. That's 5 books.
Is Harley Quinn becoming DC's new Batman?
Oh,
Yeah.
you can also count 6 because she has seasonal specials every year, like Harley Quinn's Christmas and Harley Quinn's Valentine. So that's technically 6.
I will like that it's not for the seasonal books. It's not just seasonal books. It's like if DC are going to a big event, they make Harley Quinn go to that event.
To said big event.
Yeah, I think that's kind of...
I liked her Comic-Con adventure where she pushed Stefan Amell aside to go meet Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, because that's absolutely what I would do in that situation. And I'm like, yeah, they knew who this book was written for. Yep.
I loved that part where she walked into a room of Joker cosplayers and then just shut the door. And it's like heavily implied that she slept with like 100 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which people had problems with, and I say it's like, hey, if they flipped that and it was the Joker who went into a room filled with Harleys and had himself a good time, would you be complaining? No, you wouldn't. That's called the double standard, and those aren't cool. So there.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh?
I was like, oh,
And
okay.
there was a
Close.
thought and it was gone.
So before we bounce out of here, before we get out of here for the night, I want to talk about Secret Wars.
Okay.
And I've been waiting until the end.
You've been holding it in.
Holding
You've
it
been
in.
holding it tight.
What did you guys think about the ending of Secret Wars?
I enjoyed it. Sal and
You know
I did a
what?
whole show on it.
Hang on a minute. I loved it, but Tiffany has a very different opinion, and I want her to share it. So let me see if I can get her.
Oh,
So,
well,
Okay.
keep going.
while Tiff comes along, I will say I have just one thing to say about Secret Wars, and that is
That was good. Is that going to be on the book jacket?
What, is that
The
it?
big
Just-
super effective says.
He makes a clicking sound. Are you just glad it's over?
yeah, so happy.
Dude.
It's been an odyssey. We all worked together to get to this point. You know, we became closer because we made it this far.
I like how Sal's making like an acceptance speech.
Is this like our Vietnam? This is what brought us together. This was our band of brothers moment.
I mean, we were friends before this, but now I really feel we're something more than that.
Jonathan
That was
Hickman,
the
it's been a
closest
long road,
connection.
man. It's been a long road, Hickman, but you know, we've braved it. We've braved the perils.
You know, and we won. In the end, we won. We
We-
It's true.
We beat
We
the
got-
communists.
we got through the Secret Wars, and now we have things that we want to read, like Scarlet Witch and
Titan
the
Sun.
others.
Well, that's DC, but yeah,
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from.
You know, when I was reading the ending of this book, I was like, I can so easily see where Marvel's like, reboot it all. Just reboot everything. Because that's what it was. It was literally Reed and Franklin making new worlds.
They
and
were
then
building
sending them
new-
off. They were building
They're
a new
seeding
multiverse.
the universe.
Seeding the
yeah.
universe, and they could have just rebooted everything. Everybody's story is
Becoming new
brand new.
gods in their own right. They, which what a beautiful send off for the Fantastic Four, where they're like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
we won't be superheroes anymore. We will be scientists and explorers, and we will be, the Carusos and whatever of.
See, that I thought was one of the coolest things, and I probably should have mentioned that in my video, but that I thought was one of the coolest things, where it fulfills like the full view of the Fantastic Four. That like
Yes, it does.
they created the superhero community when they launched the Marvel Comics. You know, they're creating the new Marvel comic multiverse, and then once the multiverse is complete, which I don't know if it would be because it's an infinite number of universes, but once it's complete, they're going to set out to explore it. And that I think was a really cool idea for Hickman to throw in there. But
And
How,
I
how
think
nice is
it's-
it too? Or no, you go ahead, Post.
I think it's nice that they had, they've had quite a bad year. So it's quite
To say the
nice.
least.
So I think it's kind of nice that they've, even though it's through a delay, that they've started this year like that.
yeah,
I don't know. We all know they're going to return. Because
some-
oh yeah.
and
When a
I
new
would-
Fantastic Four movie comes out, they're going to come back.
That's what I'm thinking. They're definitely going to be like, they're going to be like, oh, with the rights are back, yeah, and to commemorate this momentous occasion is Fantastic Four #1. Like,
But like after exploring the multiverse, they're gonna come back less like the Fantastic Four and more like the Forever People.
yeah. Hang on, Tiffany. You have a very interesting opinion about the end of Secret Wars because most of us were like, "Yay, good, the Richards family."
I don't like the Richards family.
Tiff is anti-Richards.
I know. I've always been anti-Reed Richard. I don't like him. I just don't like him. I never
Please
have.
tell me you
never
like.
will.
Do you like Sue?
Oh yeah, that was great at the end. There she is. Sue Richards. Wife of Reed Richards, intelligent in her own right.
Where
And
she has
she's
to
there like-
ask a question.
I'm sorry, could you just use the smallest words you could to try to just let me know what happened? Because I kind of,
Well, she's not a
So-
scientist.
Here's
In
Hickman.
general.
wrapping up his run on like what could be possibly the last Fantastic Four book he ever writes, and that's what she's gonna say last.
That were her last words. Can you
Yep.
please explain this to me, small child?
Yeah, because I didn't get it. What?
Hey, Reed, like it probably would have been funny if like she had just gone to like the explain like I'm five subreddit and just been like gone to the search bar and just typed in like Marvel like recreating the multiverse, and then it's just like somebody explaining like Reed just literally has an answer to
Goes
somebody.
to a WikiHow
Wait,
on
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is. I just imagined. I don't know if this ad is in America, but it's like, there's this like the OK Google adverts in England at the moment. So it's like, if they did something like need to recreate the multiverse, just put Google in your doc and type how to create a multiverse.
Wow.
Reading the DIY guide, do it yourself.
No, I mean, I didn't really care about the whole Susan Storm thing. Like I need you to because it was literally just a way for him to throw in
She
an
was
explanation of what else
Of
happened.
course you didn't, because you had plenty of other, male characters who were in charge of the world. Like, of course you
Are
didn't.
we really
But there-
going? Are you?
No,
Are we
I
really
am
going?
gonna go there because you know what? You have this woman who that's really what it came down to. It came down to the family. It came down to her love. It came down to that. When it came down to those two men, that's what this is really all about. And then you're gonna
Becoming-
let her sit there and be like, I didn't get it. No, that woman's an intelligent person.
She's not a
Yeah, I mean-
scientist. I don't see
treat her
her.
like
I don't
that.
see her. I
I
don't see her developing time travel devices or, meeting
mean,
with the
I-
Council of Reeds or wielding an Infinity Gauntlet. Like I see her
was a
full.
secret
I
agent.
see her becoming like a crazy woman named Malice. Like I remember when she became that.
Yeah, and I've also seen Reed Richards be one of the biggest dicks in comics. So I mean, like, if you want
But
to
her
pull out
character's-
that,
her
that's
character's
fine,
not
but
written
I'm
as a
just saying, At the
scientist.
end of all of this, you don't have her go there like, I didn't get it. You had plenty of other characters there who could have said something like that. You could have pulled anyone from the Marvel universe, anytime, any place, and done that. But you had her do it, and I think that's completely
She
unnecessary.
does
And you
kinda
could have
have a
even-
point.
And you
Wow.
could have even had, like, if Valerie was around, you could have had her because she's a child. That
Yeah,
was
and
probably-
and she's
But she's a
as
child
smart
who's
as Reed
smarter
Richards.
than everyone. She's
Yeah.
the one who figured out the God is a lie thing when no one else did.
She's the one that figured out that there was no way to stop the collapse of the multiverse.
But,
Susan-
but that literally doesn't take away from my point that you didn't need to have her say that. That was completely unnecessary. That doesn't literally that whole moment is not needed.
Okay, so why wasn't it needed? Like, what's the problem with having her say that?
Well,
What's-
why would she say it? What point does it make?
'Cause she's not a scientist and
someone
she wants
needed
to
be the
understand what's going
audience Is what it was. Someone needed to ask the question that, in all honesty, I was asking to her. I'm like, no, wait, hey, I don't understand it. Can you please explain it
No,
to
no,
me?
no, no. My question is this: like not even looking at the characters inside the comics, and not even looking at us as people. My character is this: why does it matter that it was a Susan Storm and it wasn't
Because
somebody else?
Susan Storm was initially developed at a time where women weren't respected, and given the power where it made her disappear, to put that back on her, to give her a question like that, is very reminiscent of that origin.
Okay, but that's not who her character is, and this evolved over the years.
No, it has, but then to give her a question like that is to de-evolve her.
Well, I would say you're de-evolving her by looking at that one instance and taking away everything that's developed with her
I
character
didn't
so
take
far.
it away. He put it out there. I have to interpret it as need be. It's art. That's what happened.
But you're saying that the entire evolution of her character is essentially all for naught
I'm not
because of what
saying the
Hickman
entire
did.
evolution. I'm just saying I have an issue with that being the last line that she speaks.
I don't.
I know you don't, and I know you won't, and that's okay.
I
Like you
mean-
can have your opinion, and I can have mine, and there's literally nothing wrong with that.
There's
I'm just here
there's
to voice
everything
a
wrong with
different
that.
opinion.
There's everything wrong with that, Tiffany.
Well, coming from the man the Pikachu had, it's really hard to take that
This
very
this
seriously,
Pikachu
sir.
hat is pretty bad. This Pikachu hat, you gotta admit, this Pikachu hat's pretty badass.
Dude, I wore it today on an episode of Off the Rack.
She did.
I'll give you there are
Beat you
probably
to the
better people to
punch.
ask that question than her, but I don't know. I just
Now, how
never really.
slick is it that Miles Morales, not only does he get to live, not only does he get to hang out with Spider-Man, but his mom gets brought back to life too. We hear that. How nice was
Dude,
that?
I was sitting there thinking like, when Hickman wrote it in there that Molecule Man was like, I owe you. I'm like, so is Molecule Man creating all the things in the universe, or is like Franklin doing it, or how does that work? But I guess I guess that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, now I'm
Miles-
sure
Miles-
that ticked Bendis off to no end. Was like, no, I killed his mother. You don't get to bring her back.
I think Miles as a character was interesting, but it really didn't matter to me that much. That to me it was more important that he remembered everything. Like
That was
that
nice,
was
too.
more relevant to me than everything else. But
Which I'm sure everyone will think he's crazy. It's like, man, remember that time when the universe is totally messed up and it was all like Game of Thrones and Doctor Doom was a god king, and then Groot grew huge out of the world tree. Everyone's like, dude, Miles, what's wrong with you,
that's
man?
kind of what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for something to happen where we're like Doom meets Miles and he's like, I remember you, like you're that asshole that made Battleworld. Like, I'm waiting for something like that to happen.
Or he meets Singularity. He's like, you remember it? They think I'm crazy. They think you're
Do you-
crazy too.
You know, it's funny. As much as Doom is Doom, I don't think Doom's an asshole. Even at the end of this, I didn't come away with the fact that he's an asshole, like at all.
Well, he was written to be a tragic character, is how
Oh,
Hickman wrote it.
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
But-
but I mean, the fact is, like, in the face of something catastrophic, he stepped up and did something.
He
Yeah.
made the best out of a bad situation. And
He
even
really
says
did.
that to Reed, where he's like, look, in your striving for the perfect, you always lost the good. Now, Reed, of course, turns that back on him and says, yeah, you may have done some good, but you held it too close, man, and you had to elevate yourself above everyone
I know.
else.
Tell me that wasn't kind of funny, and in a good and bad way. The fact that Doom and Reed ended up being like two boys on a playground.
Oh,
fighting
absolutely.
the same
That's
box.
exactly what
And I
it
was like,
was.
okay, cool. But at the end of the day, I literally don't think anyone was right, because like Reed went back in time and saved his family, but then just remade everybody else, and essentially like was upset that Doom had remade his family. But it's
Yeah.
okay if Reed remakes everyone else. Like, that's cool, because that's not my family.
Well, no,
Like-
the entire argument, at least as far as I understood, the entire argument wasn't necessarily that Doom remade Reed's family. It was that Doom remade Reed's family and then tried to take his place. And
Oh, yeah.
instead of just like saying like, hey, like just so you guys know, like here's your whole life up to this point. Here's everything you remember, or how your life was until
Right.
the collapse of the multiverse, and like we'll just wait for Reed to show back up. Hopefully he does. Maybe
Right, but
maybe-
I mean, it's interesting too, because in that situation, of course, it's a world without Reed, but Doom does say that they chose, like, they made that decision, and you know what? The fact is, who knows what would happen? Like, is Sue Storm never allowed to remarry if Reed left or died? Like, is that not allowed? Like, is Reed not cool with that?
Well,
The
I don't.
thing,
Well, that was
I love Sue Storm as a character, but my favorite thing that she's ever done is when she left Reed in Civil War.
Oh, that was a good moment.
she
so-
bailed on him. Yeah.
That was good.
I want there to be a story or a book that's exclusively about Sue, and she doesn't have the ball and chain that is Reed Richards, because I feel like she is a much better character than him and much more interesting.
They've toyed with that. There was a great one-shot Shield comic where she was actually going off doing secret missions for Shield that Reed and Ben, they didn't even know about, that she's like been one of their top secret agents for a long time, and of course she is, because she can turn invisible, she can do
Yeah.
anything.
Actually, there was a John Byrne pitch in which they did this whole story where Sue like leaves the room, like and she winds up getting either shrunk or she goes to another dimension or something, and she winds up like living her whole life in this other realm. Like it was the Invisible Woman miniseries. I don't know if they actually made it or if it was just a pitch, but I remember reading this amazing thing where I think John Byrne was developing it, where Sue basically becomes like a really, really strong independent character all by herself, and like divorces herself from Reed because she's in this place where he literally can't get to her, and he doesn't even know like how to get to her because he didn't know where she went, and she develops into this like totally separate entity, and like because she kind of like lives an entire lifetime, she winds up like meeting somebody else and like developing a whole life with this other person, and then eventually she's just freed, and the idea was to kind of springboard her into her own character, and then they were like, yeah, but then like she wouldn't be a member of the Fantastic Four. F that.
Forget development, man. We got to keep the first family together.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, that was just a neat idea. I was like, oh, that interesting to note about Sue being by herself. Like they tried that. Anyway, that's it.
Well, that was my question when Doom said that. Like, well, they chose. It's like, well, like, did they? I mean, I didn't understand how that worked, because I didn't understand what came first. Did Doom literally say, okay, what do you guys want? Do you guys want to like hang out with me and not remember anything, or do you guys want to like remember everything and not hang out with me?
Did
Well,
you
I don't
sit
remember,
them
like,
down
were
with
there
cocoa
other-
and marshmallows and say, hey, kids?
Well, and the other thing was like I don't remember. There were no other analogs for the Richards family.
No, there was
No.
just the one.
So like it wasn't like he created Sue the same way he created Peter Parker. There's a million of them. He makes Sue. He puts her in his castle, and then he's like, "So who do you like? Right? Am I pretty cool? Like, what do you think?" I mean,
See, now
there's really no
I
option for her to like. I mean, she could
ass-
like somebody else, but I think that
assume that with his ego that he wooed her and he made her choose. Do you
I
know
think
what
that
I mean?
well,
Like,
she's probably attracted to like super intelligent people who also act like they're in charge of everything.
well,
right?
because he literally was in charge of everything. He was God. He's like,
Yeah.
hey. He's like,
As
hey,
opposed to-
first date, I can make the sun rise and not
Yeah.
rise.
with your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, your brother's the sun, ain't that?
And
his
your
dad?
friend Ben will be like a giant wall.
Will be a wall that I'm gonna like pee on. But like I could imagine I can imagine the moment when it was just thinking about like God King Doom. Like I put myself above everything else, but then once this man and his girlfriend and her brother and his best friend managed to miraculously survive a spacecraft crash. They realize that their bodies have been horribly modified into something else, and then he says, "And I'll name myself Mr. Fantastic."
But no, that was something that I didn't get, was like, that whole choosing thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
my assumption was that, when the multiverse collapsed, that I assume he remade them, because it was difficult to tell, because I don't know if they simply just ceased to exist.
I mean, Doctor Strange clearly chose, but he was literally right next to Doctor Doom when all of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
like those
assumption
three
was-
were the last. Like him and Owen Reese and Doom were the last three survivors of the collapse. So,
Yeah, I assumed when we reveal that like Doom has Sue and Valerian Franklin and so forth, I assumed that Doom plucked them from Oblivion, that like
Yeah.
he saved them, but I think the end of Secret Wars implies that he didn't.
yeah,
I think that the end of Secret Wars is that he made them, like he made constructs of them, but Reed actually saved them.
Right, that he's been playing house this whole time with paper dolls.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
that would make a lot more sense. Like that,
I mean,
I would
like-
understand.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to ask Hickman. We got him. We have him on the show next week, right?
Yeah, we have Hickman coming up.
If he can
Dude-
clear his schedule,
Dude, all I want, like, now that Hickman's finished with Secret Wars, like, I really want him to go to a Comic-Con so I can be one of, like, the 10,000 people standing in line waiting for him to autograph
To
all
ask
10, all 9
questions.
copies. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I would love. I mean, I think I've said this before, but I want Hickman to become a like editor at Marvel. Like, I want him to stop writing and just edit.
I wonder if
Yeah.
Hickman is like a guru, and when you come up to him, he's like, "You may ask me these questions 3, but only 3, no more, no less."
And they must be an iambic pentameter.
Yeah.
but, yeah, no, overall, I thought it was probably one of the best stories that I think Hickman had wrote in a long time. to be honest.
Ultimately, very worth it, despite the length and despite the wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
definitely.
say-
now that's irrelevant. Now the delays and the wait are irrelevant because it's a collected story. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want. However,
Yeah.
I will say that I would disagree. I disliked Secret Wars, but I feel like that's just because it's not a story for my type of reader. I
That's fair. That's fair.
I want drama, and oh my god, is he cheating on her? And what?
well, that's why they made the tie-ins. The tie-ins satisfy the desire for like that kind of story or for other
Yeah.
types of stories. Like, I mean, obviously, Secret Wars was a book about. For me, it was a book about like what fans want versus what they need.
Mm.
And like it's like all the big like stupid, if you can want to call them that, but like the Game of Thrones stuff, like, oh no, like Mr. Sinister fought with Apocalypse, and whoa, like look at that, the Maestro's rolling in, but don't worry because a 12-foot tall thing is gonna or a 100-foot tall thing is gonna punch him in the face. Like all those moments are things that you as a fan like think you want, but in reality you want structure and story and substance. Like, and it's why the fights all for me like fell short, because at the end of the day, without any real, because like the siege on Castle Doom, like why launch a full scale war against the god?
Because it's cool.
Because it looks awesome, and all the fights that take place in there, like there's no purpose to the fights. They're just things that happen that are cool looking, and that's what you think you want. But
Well, the
know,
entire
it
thing was a
funny that
distraction in
whole
the story.
siege fight has nothing on like just Doom talking to Namor and Black Panther. He's like, no, I thought as kings of men you would understand what I was trying to accomplish here, but I guess
Yeah.
not. Robots, Panther God, Cthulhu monsters.
and even then, like the cool like moments, they're all just like Michael Bay, and then a car goes down the thing and rah, like because like the moment where T'Challa's like, and I am, the ruler of the dead, and you're like, oh right, the land of the dead, but like at the end of the day, like, yeah, so, so T'Challa like tells those zombies to go through a door. That's not anything, but it was cool looking, right?
And it's totally Lord of the Rings too. That's the moment where the ghosts show up in the third
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, that was, I mean, to me, like, as far as I understood it, that was all designed just to be a distraction anyway.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like, it was
absolutely. But,
it was part of their
just,
plan.
well, and was deliberately a distraction, but it was also, I think, a metatextual like, hey, this is what you think you want, but you really just want a story about this guy and his family. Like, I think that's what Hickman's point is. I don't know if he's right. I mean, like, he is in as much as stories need structure and substance, but I mean, like, can't we have both?
You gotta dig Doom's.
Like,
I will
You gotta
say,
dig Doom's reaction to it. It's like, oh, dude, they're going from a secret stash. I better get in there.
yeah,
Well,
I do just want to say, like, even though I didn't like the main Secret Wars book, there is one thing that I'm incredibly happy that it gave us, which is A-Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved A-Force, and really happy that...
Good first issue.
Yeah.
yeah. Willow Wilson did a nice job with it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Although she's not staying on the book, though. She's done as
Yeah,
of
I
the first
heard.
arc.
I'm not.
She's
I'm
passing
not
it
gonna
over.
lie. It makes me really uncomfortable that Dazzler is now comic book girl 19.
It is a little funny, isn't it? It's like, man, that redesign had to be intentional.
If you follow her on Instagram, she made a comment about it where she's like, "You can steal my look all you want. I'm totally down to be in a comic, and I love Dazzler." Like she
Yeah.
was totally up for it, and clearly not aware of their decision to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would be the same
so-
way.
So now Marvel, when you sort of get a new artist on the Young Avengers, me as Wiccan, it can happen.
Yeah,
So
when
it's
Wiccan
kind of there.
eventually, if he survived Secret Wars.
Oh, he's in New Avengers.
Yeah, he's on one of the new Avengers teams.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Him and Hulkling are both on New Avengers, which is
Oh, yeah.
Sunspot's team now.
Oh, nice.
Which, yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
man. Sunspot's road trip
I'm-
team. Sunspot's fraternity Avengers team.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it-
thank you.
it's a book that is there.
It sure is. hey,
Yeah,
they fought
that's
the
like,
Maker.
that
They
was
fought
like
the Maker in
Uncanny
the first
Avengers. I was
arc.
like, pass. I read the first 3 issues, and I was like, oh my god, this is so terrible.
It is there.
It
And
exists.
It's gonna have the Young Avengers curse, where the characters are written well, but the story is so where the book just doesn't make it past issue 12.
But guys, the Maker though, they fought the Maker, so there's another Ultimate character who survived.
Yeah.
Maker's cool, but like, don't waste him on that. Like, make him the problem. Like, make him a problem in one of your stupid events. But no, we're gonna
You know-
create a new character.
Do you guys remember my pitch for Maker back when we didn't know how Secret Wars was going? And I'd be like, dude, wouldn't it be amazing if in the 8-month time skip, like 616 Reed became the Maker? Wouldn't that be something? Like he actually went to the dark side for real in the
Yeah.
new universe?
Cool.
And that didn't happen.
Nah.
No.
Or
But
my
I-
pitch for Hulk, where it's like, well, dude, Amadeus Cho had to take over as the new Hulk because Banner finally succumbed and became the Maestro.
Yeah.
And that also didn't happen.
Nope.
But no, like I do agree that the Maker should be like a big bad because he's he's a really cool villain, and he should definitely be like a big bad guy for like a major crossover event.
I
you know.
agree.
But anyway, so wrapping up this episode, what do you guys have going on this week?
Wants to go first.
I'll go first. We are 2 episodes away from the 100th episode of Back Issues. This week will be our back issues on Contest of Champions, the original
Nice.
1992 book. And then we will be on episode 100 the following week for Final Crisis.
Ooh.
Wow.
This week we've also released an episode of Off the Rack where we brought back reviews, and we're doing reviews and previews in one episode.
I saw that.
Thank you. Yeah, and Joel and I will be on the Elseworlds Exchange on Wednesday. We're going to talk about comic book video games.
It'll be a
Awesome.
good time.
Also, Elseworlds Exchange is now available on iTunes.
Sweet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Joel.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go next then. Obviously, Come By Cave Joel got all sorts of new stuff happening over there. The big TV shows are back now, so expect me to review, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Agent Carter, when all of that starts up again. I'm also reviewing comics over on that channel now in a new show I'm calling Comic Smack, so check that out.
Yeah.
And yes, I do the hand thing in every episode, so get ready for that.
I am going to be talking about Miraculous Ladybug this week, which is the first look into the Quantic universe, which is Europe's answer to Marvel and DC's extent.
I've looked at a little of that Ladybug thing you were talking about. I'm
Yeah.
checking that now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They are expanding on that universe very quickly, so I'm really looking forward to see what becomes of it, especially because it's our first time seeing a comic book universe first introduced to us through a cartoon. So I'm really excited to see that. What else have I got going on? We are recapping Scarlet Witch. We are going to be recapping American Alien, and I've already put up Titans Hunt number 2 last week, so maybe Titans Hunt number 3, I'm not really sure. And obviously just my usual history arcs, which I don't announce until the video is released.
When does American Alien end?
Never. It
Not
always
for a
goes
while.
on in your
issue
heart.
7, so probably next year.
So what are we on, issue number 3 right now?
We're on
Yeah.
issue 3, so 4 months.
But it
Okay,
goes
I
on
was-
in
I
your
was like-
heart, Rob.
I was like, is it a quarterly series or is it like a monthly series? I was like,
It's on a monthly, yeah.
they don't do quarterly series anymore. I didn't think.
No, they don't.
But yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna do a video on Friday about like what I think the best Marvel films of this year are gonna be
Ooh.
in order.
There's plenty to choose from.
There's plenty. Yeah, there's plenty. Like I'll probably just go through them all and just say like, here's, from top to bottom, here's what I think the best will be, and here's what I think the worst will be, or not really the worst because there aren't going to be any who are going to be like bad, but what I think the least best is going to be. But yeah, and then next week is an Armors video, and then I don't know what I'm going to do the week after that. But anyway, yeah. So is that it? Everybody got their stuff in?
That's it. We got all our,
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this episode up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This will be up tomorrow for those of you guys who are looking forward to when this episode is released. And yeah, so I guess we'll catch you guys later.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.